since like COVID started. Ooh, perfect. Especially since like COVID started, because I don't know how it all went out there, but it was like we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't do anything, we couldn't show houses, and so Facebook ads like exploded for a while. And it was great, and they're still great. And Facebook is like 45 minutes north of us, and so yeah, like everything digital marketing, but specifically Facebook ads, especially for realtors right now, that's like been like the main topic we've been teaching about. And so, yeah. And so I've kind of came up with this thing. It's how to beat Zillow at their own game. Right. And so I did find the slides. So I told you about yesterday. I found the slides for them. It's kind of we can cruise through it. I think it's only like 20, no, not even 20 slides, like 12 slides. We can kind of cruise through that and then just chat at the end if people have questions about anything related to Facebook ads. It's kind of it's my thing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we get started on that, just in case, we ever have some California referrals, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started in real estate and where you've gotten.
So I was in the military for 12 years, and the opposite of the military is real estate. And so I went there because it was like I was done with the military. I knew that wasn't gonna, I was having to make the decision, like, am I going to 20 years or what am I doing? And I don't even know, like, I was going to be a real estate investor. It's like, I might as well get my license and be a realtor, I guess, in the meantime. And I haven't invested in any real estate, which is bad. I should have, but got my license, just kind of didn't know what the heck I was doing. Accidentally found Keller Williams, like literally accidentally found Keller Williams. And I had a massive first year, sold 26 homes my first year, and then did that a couple more years. And then that eventually threw me into the team leader role, which was a neat experience. And now I'm back into the not team leader, I'm back into sales. I did that for a couple of years during COVID. And then came back into sales. And so now I partnered up with another top agent in our market in order to build up a team, because he loves doing the sales and I don't. I love I love the business. I love the systems. I love the marketing. I don't love I don't love some of the intricacies of the transaction. So he's going to go do all the sales. I'm going to develop the team. And so that literally just started a few months ago. And so we're a few months into that, and kind of perfect timing too, because we had a awful winter. Again, might have been in the news. We had just an awful winter to kick off the year. Like no sales were happening. And so now all of a sudden, kind of like when COVID first started, there were no sales, but then all of a sudden the fire hose let go. That's what's happening here. And so it's like the market, in some ways, is picking up and flying, in some ways is frozen. And that's actually a question I wanted to ask you guys, is what is your market doing? Because I know where Delaware is, and that's about all I know of Delaware. So I'm curious, like, is your market, or would you say it's like on fire? Would you say it's dead? Where are you guys at?
Oh man, I mean, we're a resort town truly in our market center. So I think we've seen a little bit less of the craziness up and down than most. However, still interest rates are killing deals. Things are getting a little bit more complicated, but we get a lot of movement down. So New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, it's all moving down. It's going to keep moving down. So the resort part is pretty good. Kyle, he is an agent in the beach area, so I'll let him talk to that a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, in terms of the market right now, sorry, for like 5 seconds, I had to deal with something with Walt. But yeah, I mean, we're still sitting in a seller's market. I mean, I think coming out of COVID, what happened is in that weird like lockdown situation, we kind of changed how the market's looking in terms of price point. So I mean, specifically in our Delaware coastal beach area, if you're looking for anything within like 4 blocks of the ocean, you're automatically looking at, I'd say, probably $1 million at least. And now looking into things going into like the western side of our county, those price points are going up too. So, I mean, with the interest rates and with that happening, Buyers are having a little bit of a hard time trying to find stuff within their price range. But it's interesting. It's every day is a new adventure.
What's interesting too about the interest rates, and then we can kind of go into it, is everyone's saying, oh, the interest rates are going to kill everything, and obviously it's slowing it down. We're extremely high price point market, like $1.5 million plus for a nothing house, and the people are still financing. They're choosing to finance. So maybe not now that we're getting into this like sevens again up that direction, but they're like, I just had a buyer that they chose to finance, even though they didn't have to. They could have gone cash. They're like, it's still cheap enough. Like, what are you talking about? All of us are freaking out about it. Feels so expensive. And they're like, well, still buying it. And it's kind of a great point that someone is always going to buy a house. It's just getting harder to find the people. Right. So I'd say we're seeing the same thing. It's mostly a seller's market, but there's signs that it's not, seller can't get greedy anymore.
No, and I mean, we're still seeing a ton of cash offers. I mean, I helped out transactions for a little bit, and I would say out of 10 transactions, probably 6 of them were probably all cash offers, waived all contingencies. So, I mean, people are still aggressive in their offers because inventory is down. But I mean, we're checking the stats every week, and inventory is slowly creeping up compared to where we were last year, but we'll get there.
It sounds very similar to us. Inventory's down, but it's creeping up. So interesting. Cool. Then on the western side there, what's the average price point? Like where you said it's a little bit lower, what's that around?
300,000.
300. Okay, so it's like 300 to $1 million plus. Got the whole gamut. Perfect. That's perfect for
Absolutely.
Facebook. Not that it really matters, but it's perfect for Facebook.
It is.
Especially like down here at the beach. What's happening is everyone's buying all these $1 million, parcels of land that just have a shack on them. They tear them down and then put up a $2 million beach home. So, I mean, it's crazy right now.
So, especially if you have strong feeder markets, somebody remind me at the end to talk about the strategy around running ads in feeder markets, because we'll kind of run through like this other piece of it. But when you have a strong feeder market in a different area, you can essentially run ads there to attract buyers into your market. So we can talk a little bit. It's super easy, but we can kind of do that at the end.
Perfect.
Cool.
Awesome. So I guess we're going to talk about the Zillow killer.
Yeah. Hold on. Can I share?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what we call, I make up stupid names for stuff all the time. So this is how to beat Zillow at their own game. Can you see my screen, or does it have the little black bars all around it? No black bars.
We see.
Amazing. Okay. So this is how to beat Zillow at their own game. So the whole point of this is how many, or are any of you using lead aggregators, meaning they generate the lead, they usually call you and set an appointment, or they'll set an appointment for you, but they'll call you with a hot lead, and in return you owe 35-40% of the commission. So like Zillow Flex, Opcity, Ojo, those are like 3 of the big ones, realtor.com. Is anybody using those?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're not good, and if you are good, and what we can do is I'm going to kind of show you why you're getting charged that money and how we can not get charged that money anymore. So that's kind of why we developed this kind of quick course around it. So Gary Keller always says, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business, you have a hobby, right? So we know we need leads, and you'll especially see people, at least out here, they'll flock to teams that have leads. They go to a team because they want lead flow. They want all, it's just like we just said, it's tougher to go find that motivated, qualified buyer. So they flock to these teams that have leads. And then they kind of find out, oh, well, it's a Zillow Flex lead. And that's amazing because that's a motivated buyer on the end of the line. And then you're like, oh, but I owe you 35% at closing, right? So Zillow's model used to be, we'll give you, you pay a monthly fee, you get a number of leads. And now they're really shifting hard into the Zillow Flex model, which is pay nothing up front. Sounds great. You pay a huge chunk on the back end, especially if it's, you know, those coastal properties, they said that's the $1 million plus properties. You're paying thousands of dollars for that single lead, right? And so what we did was we said, okay, well, we don't have to do that. We can actually just duplicate what Zillow's doing. And whether we're saying Zillow, Realtor.com, any of them, but we can duplicate what the aggregators are doing, and we can actually do it in command. And, you know, there's ups and downs of doing anything on any, I've used every platform there is. Commissions Inc., Chime, Command, Real Geeks, Follow Up Boss, like we've used all the different platforms and all of them have ups and downs. And you can kind of do this on any of them, but the nice thing is you can do it on command, which is already built into your monthly fee. So that's cool. So I'm a realtor. I'm director of sales at the EF Home Group at KW Santa Cruz, down the street from Zucker World over there in this massive Facebook campus over there. I'm a labs advisor, meaning that I work with KWRI on some of the beta projects of making sure the products are ready for release, or that they're creating tech products that realtors actually want. So it's not just a bunch of techies building what they think is cool. We try to help guide that discussion. I have a master's in digital marketing. That's kind of why I love this whole digital marketing Facebook side of things. And I'm obsessed with Facebook for lead gen. Not as big on TikTok for lead gen, but if that's something you want to learn about too, I'll point you in the right direction. So why do this? That's because change is inevitable, but participation is optional. The market's not necessarily the real estate market. The real estate market is shifting, but I mean more the lead generation market is shifting. That's where they're changing from. You used to be able to just go pay a fee, get some leads, you convert them, great. Or you just do the lead generation on your own and you convert them, great. Now it's shifting, and it's even going to shift again, where now the new model a lot of these aggregators are testing is pay a monthly fee plus 35% plus on the back end. So they're actually combining them. They're like, oh, you'll get better leads. It's like, great. Eventually, Gary talked about this when he stood on stage at Inman 5 years ago, I think it was now, where he said eventually, like, Zillow's model is they're a broker and they're going to want their agents doing it. And Zillow claims that's not what they're doing, and maybe it's not, but it would make sense for eventually these massive platforms to then say, actually, you know what, we're just going to give them to our own agents. So we need to change as well with the market. What we're doing this because it's so easy. A caveman can do it, just like Geico used to say. I don't think they say it anymore. And then this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So this is one of those things where it's like, we can have a plan. We all had a plan in 2019 of how 2020 was going to go, and then things changed. And then a lot of people had a plan of, this is how I'm going to build my business around these lead generation tactics. And then some aren't as strong as they used to be. Or I built my business on open houses. I used to do 5 to 6 open houses a week. That's how I got up to that 2016 units a year. And it would be very difficult for me to do 6 open houses a week right now. We just don't have the inventory. So things change. So had a plan, got punched in the face. Now we gotta find a different way to do it. All right. So quick kind of breakdown of like all these different things is, so you have your aggregators, right? So that's Zillow, Realtor.com, Mojo. They capture leads by having a really, really, really big website, right? Like Zillow doesn't even really spend money on advertising for the most part anymore, at least on like Google ads, just because when people go and type in real estate for sale in Dover, Delaware, that's one area I know because of the Air Force. If they go type in, homes for sale in Dover, Zillow's just natural massive website. They don't need to put an ad out there to get them in front of those people. They'll end up in the top 3 usually. So they have a very big, powerful website that sucks in anybody and everybody looking for real estate. And then the leads, agents are buying leads from those aggregators and call it marketing, right? So they'll say, oh, I spend blah, blah, blah on marketing. And really what they're doing is they're buying another broker's leads, right? Because Zillow is a broker. So it's Realtor.com. Any of them that you are paying a referral fee to, they have to be a broker. And so you are paying a competitor and calling it marketing. And so that's an interesting thing. The fees, this actually says 30 to 38%, but now Redfin, I think it's now at 40%. I don't know many at 30% anymore. It's now more like 35 to 40%. And then, as we just said on the last slide, the future is that aggregators are going to want more money. So how are they going to get it? They're going to raise fees. They're going to make it more exclusive. And so then we have to come up with something to get around that. So just as a note, though, I'm not even hating on all the aggregators. Like, what we're actually saying is that what they do is really good. They're actually, they're winning. They did a really good thing. Maybe a little bit deceptively of how they got in with the MLSs, but they created a very good product that the consumer wants, and they sell us their information. Okay, cool. What they're doing is great. So now we have to duplicate it. If you're currently using, especially if you're not in here now and you're watching a recording, and if you're currently using any of these aggregators, like, continue to use them. I'm not saying, for a long time, it seemed like everything KW says is, hating on Zillow. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm saying, well, what if we built something on the side, got it going so powerfully that we no longer have to rely on that 35% referral fee. So my business partner, last year before I had joined him, a third of his business had a 30% or more fee attached to it, whether that was going to real estate agents for referral business or these aggregators like Redfin. But a third of the business had a third of the commission gone, right? So that's kind of a massive chunk. So now we're looking at how many transactions can we do without paying out a referral fee, and then we can wean off of those other lead sources. So this is breakdown of how Zillow works, because I don't think a lot of people really look at this of like, really, what is it that they're doing? So step one is the visitor finds Zillow. Again, they just type in real estate for sale, or like, it's kind of like Google, right? It's just a verb now. Go to Zillow. Like, it's just something you do. They can search with no sign up, right? You can go on Zillow.com if you've never signed up before. You can go on Zillow.com. You can search all the real estate you want, but that's it. Like, you try to save a property, or if you try to get any additional information, Zillow is going to force a registration. But you'll notice the only registration they're forcing is your email. They're not asking for a phone number. They're not asking for, are you motivated to buy a house? This is kind of a trick realtors fall for, or a trap realtors fall for, is they'll put up a lead registration form where they want to ask every question there is. Zillow is asking one: what's your email? So then what Zillow is going to do is, over the next 12 to 18 months, is they're following up. They're giving them notifications on their app. They're sending them emails, a ton of emails. They're sending them, if you ever think you're sending too many emails, go sign up on Zillow and look at a couple zip codes and watch how many. To drive those people back to the website. And then in step 3 there, they eventually go back to the website and they click on call agent or schedule tour. All right. And usually at that point, when someone's clicking call agent for more information, they're getting pretty serious about their search. Well, the only way Zillow can talk to them on the phone at that point is to ask them for a phone number. So do you think at that point, that Zillow's getting real phone numbers, or are they getting fake phone numbers like a lot of people do, or a lot of people say with Facebook ads? I always get fake numbers. They're getting real phone numbers because that person wants to talk to the person. A lot of times they think it's the listing agent, but they want to talk to that person in order to learn more about that house. Then the Zillow rep calls the client within 2 minutes, and then they'll ask 5 or 6 questions, and then they hand that lead off to whoever's paying them. They're not going to the listing agent, it's going to whoever is paying them, whether it's through Zillow Flex or Premier Agent or the different ones. But that key part in there is step 2. So what's really happening is, we always say, like with bold, the fortunes and the follow-up. Really, to break this down, agents are paying the aggregators that fee for the fact that aggregators followed up only via email for the most part for 12 to 18 months on average. And a lot of people will say, oh my God, 12 to 18 months, like, that's so long. That, I think it was Chris Suarez or Ben Kinney, and now they're business partners, so I can never tell who, I can never remember who said what. I want to say it was Chris Suarez. They went back through their entire database and they said, they went through their entire database, called everybody again, kind of found out who were the dead leads, who were the new leads, or who had already done transactions. And they found that on average, no matter the lead source, it was 12 to 18 months. So think open houses. You do an open house, you get, maybe that 1% of people that comes through and says, I want to buy a house or this house and I don't have an agent, and I want to work with you because I really enjoyed talking to you, especially if they want to buy that house. It's like 1% of people, kind of similar with Facebook ads. And so really what we're doing is we're giving up that follow-up, which is completely automated, to Zillow or the other aggregators and paying them a lot of money for it. So if we could replicate the same thing, we would guess then that we're the ones doing the automated follow-up, which means we're the ones getting the phone call after the 12 to 18 months on average. So when I talked about Zillow sends out a lot of email, can you tell, I say two major differences, but there's one major difference in these two emails. One is what comes from Zillow and one is what comes from Command. Forgive me if this is an old Command email. I want to say they've changed it since then, but let's just say for the most part, it's the same. But what's like the one major difference between the consumer getting the one on the left versus the one on the right?
Initially I see like view homes but then
Yeah, it's a
there's
little
also
bit more. I'd say Zillow's like a little bit
listings
more
at the
like
bottom.
it's directed toward listings versus neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's not what I was looking for, but that's a good one.
And then the information that they give you, like the home value, the value like a year ago, like I feel like their information is a little bit more detailed, where ours is just kind of like, here you go.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say that's a good point. They have like more accurate detail, or not accurate detail, more, I don't know, full detail. I can't, again, it's 8 a.m. I just finished my coffee. They have more complete information perhaps. But the main difference that I'm looking for is that if your consumer gets that email on the left from Zillow and they click on view homes, it goes to Zillow. And what happens when then they click on another home and request more information goes to whoever's paying Zillow. The one on the right is branded to me. And when you click explore neighborhood or you click on any of the information, I want to say the new ones actually have the listings in there, if I remember right. But when you click on any more information in that email, they come to me instead of going to Zillow. That's like the main difference, is that we are trying to put ourselves back into the marketing that's going out to our people. As a side note, biggest pet peeve in the world, and if you've done this, it's okay, I forgive you, just do it different next time, is people will get a new listing and they'll go share it on Facebook and they will use a Zillow, Redfin, or Realtor.com link. And they'll say, oh, check out my new listing. And it goes to Zillow's website, where the consumer is then going to go, if they want any more information, they're going to click on it thinking they're getting a hold of you, but instead it's going to a Zillow agent. And so it's like, my goodness, let's shift back toward making sure we're keeping people within our ecosphere. But that's the main thing, is that this keeps people within our network, within our web of information, if you will. So I didn't prepare it, so I can't really do it right now. What I will normally do right now is I'll go into my email, I'll type in Zillow and pull up how many emails I have. It's literally, I think I probably get 20 emails a month from Zillow, at least. And it's different ones of different zip codes, or you looked at this house 4 years ago and now it's back on the market. Like, it's just pumping out email after email after email. They don't care what's going out there. And so you and I might look at this and say, I'd much rather have all this data. The consumer doesn't really care. It's more or less the fact that the email went to them at all, and then they opened it and they thought of real estate for that moment. And at least here they think, oh, Jason sent me this thing. It's a funny thing where consumers will sometimes really think we're sending the, oh, like, yes, Mary, I sent that just to you. I really wanted you to know your neighborhood trends. We all know it's automated, but got quite a few people who never seem to figure it out. All right, so here's how we can replicate the same exact thing with command. Right, so like number one is we have to get people into command. Again, if you're going to use a different CRM, I don't care. But I'm going to use command as our example here. But basically, you need to get people into command. Your sphere, your old leads, new leads, Facebook ads. If you have a bunch of old open house sign-in sheets, especially if they're like a year or two old, go put them into command. Like go call them again. Like old leads are gold leads. Old leads are gold leads at this point. Like it's, I actually, again, we can talk about some text follow-up if we want at the end. I've been sending out some text to really old leads and getting them re-nurtured right now. We're talking 2, 3, 4-year-old leads that have never communicated with us before, that are suddenly like, oh yeah, I'm interested in buying a house. It's like, what? If you bought a house 3 years ago, no, you know, you would have saved half on your mortgage, but that's fine. But just get people into command. And then step 2 is we just have to start automating things. So whether it's new leads or old leads, let's get them assigned to a smart plan, especially ones that have some text messaging in there as well. If we have their phone number, it just helps. You know, we talk a lot about phone calls, but people do like responding to text sometimes. So I like those as well. But sending out that monthly neighborhood nurture, this is the monthly neighborhood nurture email on the right. Sending out that email, you can also do it bi-weekly. I don't think there's any harm in that. If people unsubscribe, we want them to unsubscribe. We're okay with that. That's them telling us they're not interested. Cool, let's move on. But then also sending out, if you did your own monthly market update, where maybe you shoot a quick video and just drop a link to it in the email, where you just say, hey, here's what's going on in our market. You know, interest rates are coming up. However, you know, that's helping keep control of prices, or whatever you want to talk about. Including some more personal customized stuff in there is going to really help you. That's not as automated, but that would really help. So all these different things, like getting them into smart plans, are going to start pushing them back to the website. They're going to search on your website, and eventually they're going to click call, agent, or schedule tour. That's where now KW will ask for a phone number, just like Zillow does. And then when they ask for a phone number, it's going to you. You very, very much should be logged into the KW Command app. Not the consumer app, but the actual like Command app, because that's where you're going to get your notifications if people click on schedule tour. But again, those could be 12 to 18 months, and it requires a lot of leads, right? And so that's where then we'll start using Facebook to supplement the leads that we already have. And I will tell you this, when they do eventually come in, because eventually someone's going to click on something, please call them. Like, please call them, follow up with them. When they're finally responding to this stuff, that's as good as a sign call, right? Like a lot of times we'll say like a sign call is one of the best leads you can get as far as funnel, because they had to drive by a sign, they had to stop, they had to look up your phone, or they had to grab your phone number, they had to manually dial or punch it into your phone and call you. That's a very high intent lead. At this point, these are now high intent leads. So definitely please call them. That nothing pains me more, and I'm guilty of it. I don't call my leads all the time, but nothing pains me more than finally getting a good lead and then people not calling them. So in order to run that smart plan, the one with a neighborhood nurturer, you have to have an address, right? In order to automate it, we have to have an address in there. And a lot of people say, but like on an open house lead, I just met this person, all I have is their email, I don't know where they live. Great. You know what neighborhood they were looking at an open house in, just send them a thing. Actually, I really wish I did pull up this thing. On Zillow, just the other day, I got an email from them that was a neighborhood nurture kind of email that was from a neighborhood I once looked at real estate in 4 years ago, just randomly. I was just like, I wonder if I would ever move to this other part of California. And I favorited a property because I wanted to send it to someone. It wasn't even for me. It was just kind of, oh, look at that interesting property. Now I get emails based off of that zip code. That's like, hey, this zip code, you were interested in this zip code one time. I don't unsubscribe from it. I still kind of click on it every now and then. That's kind of my point here, is if you assign them neighborhood nurtures and it's not the neighborhood they live in, they were interested in that neighborhood for some reason at that point in time. So leads from Facebook ads. When I run a Facebook ad, it's usually around a specific listing. So then when those leads come in, I can assign them to Smart Plan or to a monthly neighborhood nurture based off of that neighborhood that home was in, right? Because for whatever reason they were interested in it, great, just get email into their inbox. Leads from open houses, we know what area the house was in, assign whether it's that neighborhood or just a good one nearby, like assign that one, cool. Sphere, if you don't have their address, you probably roughly know where they live, use that area and assign them to a smart plan that way, right? Like it's all like, we love to overthink it and think this has to be like this perfect thing, otherwise they're never going to respond. It's so far from the truth. Like they're not reading the emails in depth. They see a pretty picture, they click on it, and they'll call you. So here's some ways that we can get those people back into our funnel or get them re-engaged, right? So with Sphere, there's this email I like to send. I will have to find the link for it and I'll send it to you guys. It's a simple templated email and it says, basically, hey, this goes to people you already know, and it says, hey, I'm gonna start sending out a monthly newsletter or maybe twice a month. And you say, I'm gonna start sending out a newsletter. It's gonna be about real estate. I'm gonna keep you up to date on the market, just what I'm seeing, blah, blah, blah. And we put a little line at the bottom that says, if you'd rather not get that email from me, just reply back to this email, let me know, I'll make sure you don't get it, right? And every 6 to 8 months, we'll send out that email again or like some version of it. And I'm always surprised at how many people come back saying actually they want the information, right? So last time I did it, I want to say, I think we sent it to 400 something people. Like this is just like kind of more of my immediate sphere and past clients. We sent it to 400 something people. We got, if I remember right, I want to say something like 20 something responses back. Got 2 people saying, remove me. No, it was 3. One was a friend that just said, hey, I'd rather not, like you take me off that list. Cool. Another was my aunt who said, I'd rather you just call me once in a while. Like, take me off the email. I'd rather you just call me. Cool. And then the third was, I don't even know who it was. And she said, remove me. She accidentally got the email. I have no idea who it was, right? But it was actually a very positive thing. So your sphere is actually willing to hear about real estate from you. You just give them a little heads up. And if they don't want to get it, cool, we take them off the list. Open houses, another great source. If again, like our market, maybe your market's the same, it's kind of harder to get open houses right now. And what drives me nuts is there's like internet gurus out there saying like open houses don't work, they're a total waste of time. No, like do open houses unless your market's different. But in our market, open houses still work when you can get them. They're just a little tough. Facebook ads, again, I love Facebook ads. It's a great way. You can set up a campaign basically once a week. Just go set up a campaign once a week where you're going to spend $10 a day. And I have a whole different class we just taught in the KW command group that I can get you guys the link to as well. But basically, you're going to set up Facebook ads that I run them on Tuesdays and they run through to the next Tuesday, $10 a day. In our area, I pay $3 to $5 a lead. Your area might be a little less because again, we're in a very high competitive market, especially for Facebook ads specifically. So it's $3 to $5 a lead. And I know out of every 80-ish leads, there's one really good one in there. So for me, that's $300 something in order to get in like a list ready to go lead. And so I just set up those ads on Tuesdays. They run through, or I set them up on Wednesdays. They run through the next Monday, and then I do it again, and then we do it again. And it just keeps this constant flow, and then we can assign those manually. Kyle, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, thank you. Is there any specific reason why you do like the Tuesday to Tuesday? Like, is there any kind of like data to back that, or it's just a day?
So I use new listings, and I have found it's a bizarre thing where like if I use even a week old listing, I get fewer leads. And to me, that has to do with like my interpretation is the people that are a little bit more serious, they've already seen the old listings, right? Because they're on, especially a serious buyer, they have, the most serious buyer has an agent sending them everything for them, and they kind of don't need the ads. That next tier down are the ones that they have their Zillow app, Redfin, whatever, and they're getting alerts on it all the time anyways. And so they've probably already seen it, but it's impossible to see every listing. Like even in a small market like ours, I miss listings all the time. And so I've seen ads for listings I didn't even know came on the market. And so it's kind of that. I'm just trying to catch their attention with something new and pretty, right? Like they're scrolling through Facebook looking at cat videos. We want to catch their attention and say, hey, this is better than that cat video. Right? And Facebook's so intricate now. If they even slow down on my ad, they don't have to click it. They don't have to do anything. If they slow past their normal rate of scroll, Facebook says they were interested in real estate, and it's going to feed them more real estate ads. It's bizarre and creepy, and that's how it works. And then for those, you'll have to assign the neighborhood manually, but we're talking about takes me 5 to 10 minutes to set up the Facebook ad. Then when those leads come in, they're automatically getting a text. I have to manually call them, and I have to manually assign a neighborhood for a neighborhood nurture, but it's pretty simple. It's really not, we're talking about a few minutes of work. It's not much, but it's a great way to kind of just keep a constant flow of new leads coming in. And then all your other sources, like we might as well put them all, no matter what your sources are, put them into command, get them assigned to these searches, get them the emails, and then follow up with whatever comes out the other end. So final thought about this. So Zillow, Realtor.com, all the aggregators, they're continuing to do it because it works. They're changing their pricing structure because they need to make more money to appease the shareholders. There are fewer online leads now than there were 2 years ago or a year ago, for sure. There are fewer leads. And so now they're having to restructure a few things, but it still works. Otherwise, they would have completely pivoted. Their system is incredibly sophisticated, right? Where it's like kind of like the Facebook one I just said, where even slowing down will note to Facebook that you want to see that again. Zillow's system, you click on one listing, you'll start sending you emails, and they have all these things built into it. We don't need any of that though. They have to do it because they have to bring in so many leads. I think they generated something like 12 million leads last year, but there were only 4 million home sales, right? And so it's like they have to bring in so many leads in order to keep their agents happy, which brings in more money, keep the shareholders happy. They have to have this crazy system. All we have to do, I don't need every sale in a county. I need a few. Like if my goal's 30 deals in a year and I want 10% of it to come from Facebook or 20%, that's only 6 deals a year. I'm not looking to be king of Facebook down here. Right. And then this is literally free if you're not doing the Facebook ad spend part of it. It's like you have stuff in your database right now that is ready to transact. You just have to kind of get the system up and running to go find it. Then we start feeding in on top of that. These are now, I created this a year ago. And so these are a little bit old, but I wanted to show you this. This is 2 different teams that they had posted on Instagram wins from their teams. And so I just screenshotted them. On the left, you can see this person has a sync lead. So sync is usually either Google ads or Facebook ads. But that lead came back from 2014. And then let's see, that was February 2022, so a year ago. So 8 years later, that lead was suddenly ready to start talking, right? Like, holy crap. This other one, again, commission sync, but don't think of commission sync as there was anything special about it other than the follow-up system. 1,587 days. Is that like 4 years, or I don't know. I don't do public math. So it's like 4 or 5 years old lead is now suddenly ready to, again, maybe not transact, but they're ready to have a conversation all these years later, and part of that conversation now is going to be like, wow, just imagine all the money you would have saved buying 5 years ago when you thought about it. But it's just kind of proof that these are 2 big teams. These are separate teams that are finding success in the old leads. Even, I mean, this was last year, but it was still same thing applies. Whew. All right. I meant to leave room for questions in there, and I didn't. But what did that leave you with? what gaps in your brain did that leave you with? And I can hang out all the next 18 minutes if you want, and we can talk, or tell me what you're thinking.
I don't want to talk over anybody if anybody has questions, but it just makes so much sense to me. You know, we can do the exact same thing. It's just setting it up, you know, and yeah, I don't know. That's just really good. I mean, the Facebook ads, you know, that makes a whole lot of sense. And one thing I didn't know is that we didn't ask for the Keller Williams didn't ask for the phone number on the monthly nurtures until they clicked color schedule.
I think they don't. So pretty sure they don't. It kind of has to do with where we generate the lead. So like if we do it through Facebook, the basic form that Facebook generates the lead, it's going to ask for name, email, phone number. That's where a lot of people will say I get bad phone numbers, and that's fine. Like I don't, if someone is forced to give me a name, an email, and a phone number, but they know by doing so, they're going to get information on the other end, at least one of those is going to be true. The phone or the email is going to be true. Right, because they know if they don't fill out this thing, they don't get the information that they seek. So if it's one of those emails that's like foff@gmail.com, cool. That's not a good email, and the phone number is probably good, right? Like automatically it's telling you the number's probably good. I had one yesterday though that both sides were bad, and I'm just like, okay, like good job, you didn't get the information because it emailed it to you. And I tried to text it to you and you couldn't. So if you do it through Facebook, it is asking for all three, but I don't need all three. I just need an email. To me, in some ways, is more valuable than a phone number. And so phone number is great, but if they don't pick up the phone or they just block my number, I can't do anything about that. But email, we can drip on them over time.
Yeah, I agree.
So I actually just went, just because I'm that kind of person, I just added your Facebook ads bootcamp smart plan into my library. So I'm excited to kind of play around with that.
That's a good one. There's another one, it's called PBK. It might actually just be a duplicate. Or did that one say PBK on it?
So that one was PBK, and then I had
Yeah.
your open house lead, your buyer internet lead, and then ironically enough, we had Tyler Shields last week, and I see that you also had one kind of with him as well. So I already have that in my library, but
Tyler Shields's I stole from Family Reunion 2020. He was on stage and I just took it. I was like, that's mine. That's why I put his name on it. I didn't want to act like I came up with it. That worked for a long time. The other two, the open house and the Facebook ones on there, I put on there because when I was a team leader, we had people saying this doesn't work. And I was like, want to bet? I was like, I'll do it for you. And it worked. And then the PBK one, so my old maps coach and I run a company called Powered by Cloud with a K. That's why it's PBK, where the two big topics we teach and train on are real estate, or sorry, not obviously real estate, Facebook ads or digital marketing, and engaging with your database. So like I do the digital marketing side, he does a lot of the database side. We're starting to sprinkle in some AI on top of it now. But we do a boot camp, which we don't have a new one on the schedule yet. We're looking at actually creating like an on-demand course of it, but it's one where like we will literally walk through how to create the Facebook ad, exactly what Facebook ad to run, what smart plans to assign them to, exactly how to do it in command. And then on the fourth session, on the third one, we all launch an ad together. On the fourth one, we all review them together and say, okay, here's what went great. Here's what didn't go great. And it was interesting because like some are in California and we had some in Missouri, one in North Carolina, one in Kentucky, and the last one. And it's like, okay, so we got the full gamut and everyone had the same rough metrics. The cost per lead went up and down, but like the percentages of how many people saw it to clicked on it to turn into a lead all stayed about the same. So pretty interesting. We'll see. Just follow me on Facebook or Instagram and we'll post about that eventually. It's been a busy couple months, but I think in August, we're going to launch that as an on-demand course. So a little bit more advanced tactic stuff.
And then if you could also touch on running ads in a feeder market.
Yeah. So where did you say, what's a good feeder market for you guys? Like you said, like Philly. Is Philly, like people move down from there?
Philly and
I-
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Let's
A
use
lot
that
of
example.
DC, a lot of DC.
So I have a friend in Baltimore that, and I had done this too, but didn't have nearly the success he had. He had a new listing in Baltimore and he ran two ads, one kind of within that 20-mile radius of the listing, and one he ran in some area in Western Pennsylvania, because he went into, if you go into command and you go into the referral tool, you can see the trends, right? Where are the trends coming in and out of your market? And he went in there and saw that there was an unusually high percentage of referrals coming in from this town in Western Pennsylvania. And so he ran an ad in that market for that house. So you change the ad copy a little bit, right? Like you don't want random people in Pennsylvania clicking on that ad thinking that that house is in Pennsylvania, right? But when you say, you know, thinking of moving to the beach in Delaware, you know, or check out all Delaware beach homes or coastal homes, however you want to word it. When you do that kind of thing and you run it in that other market, and I've seen it multiple times, but in this example, he got 6 times the leads out of that one, and they went well below $1 a lead. Whereas his other one, I want to say he was $2-3 a lead. He got below $1 per lead out of the feeder market. And I don't know, it wasn't long enough ago to really know, did that, you know, did they end up being higher quality as well or whatever? But the fact that he now suddenly has, you know, it was 5 or 6 times the amount of emails and phone numbers of people to drip on over the next year that showed interest in that Baltimore neighborhood. Fantastic, you know, and then he keeps feeding it. So you could easily, one, like if you already know just off the top of your head, like you guys named some areas, great, just do that. Don't even use the statistics, just try it. And if you know it statistically, even better.
Smart.
I feel like there was something else I said I would cover at the end too. I don't know, my brain.
No,
like
this was all
undiagnosed
amazing.
ADHD.
This is all amazing. I mean, this is all immediately, you can immediately implement this. I
Yeah.
mean, pretty easily.
Yeah, it's one of the, like, literally go, if you're not using a CRM yet, get them in command. If you're using a CRM, that's not command, just go get them cleaned up and just kind of figure out who do you need to start talking to. And, you know, within KW, we're talking a lot about the 201 plus club, right? Like have 201 or more people in your database. And that's where we see the most success. And it's totally true. Like if anything, we just need more people. We got to have more conversations. Do you guys think the market's going to get easier or harder over the next 18 months?
I am not
Right.
a pessimistic person, but it's gonna go down for sure.
It is not getting easier. Right now, I'm just reveling in the fact of how many people back in October, November were saying, don't worry, rates will be below 5 by June. It's July, rates are at almost 7 again. Right. So it's like, it's not getting easier. It's the
Well, they're
only thing
saying the
getting
same
easier about
thing.
it is we're getting rid of agents left and
They're
right.
saying
So
the
that's
same
cool.
thing for next year,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, whatever.
rates are gonna go down again. And it's just, yeah.
I bought a house in 2015 and I got told that was the top of the market because it had blown up so fast it had bubbled up. My agent, I wasn't an agent. Yeah, I got licensed the next year, but my agent then, she goes, yeah, you're probably buying toward the top of the market, but who cares if you're going to live in it for the next few years anyways? It's like, yeah, that's a good point. So we bought the house. I think we bought it for $350. We sold it for $450 2 years later, and now it's over 600. So it's like, yeah, we've been saying the top of the market's here ever since I got licensed. So
Yeah.
nobody knows jack. But what I do know is agents are leaving at like record rates right now, which ultimately helps us if we can hang in long enough. like that quote from Gary at the beginning of those slides is, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. Like kind of plain and simple. And it takes more leads than it did. I want to say, I just heard Anna Kruger is a MAPS coach that teaches a lot on conversion, like lead conversion. And she said the number is now somewhere between 30 and 48. Of 30 to 48 contacts, so not even dials, but contacts, is how many contacts it takes to get an appointment. Like going through, doesn't matter the lead source. She said a lot of that is online leads, just the people she coaches. A lot of that is online leads, but for the most part, it's now 30 to 48 contacts for an appointment. Used to be like 20. That's why a lot of times we would always coach to 20 contacts a day is 100 a week. That's going to be enough to do whatever Bold says is the however many deals that is. But it's gone up for a variety of reasons. But so now if we're keeping in our minds that it's like, okay, I need 45 contacts, I know 20% of the Facebook ads are going to respond. Again, I don't do public math, but I don't know, that's 100 something leads that I need just to have enough to find that one. Right. So we just need more leads. And so there's no one source. We need multiple sources.
Absolutely.
Anything
Any
else?
questions for Jason? It's always
Alright.
good when there's no questions, because that means you
Yeah.
covered everything and we're all ready to go do this and beat Zillow at their own game, right?
Yeah, I gotta go. It's a nice, cloudy, terribly foggy day, and we need to go shoot listing videos. So we're gonna see how this goes.
Good
So,
luck with that.
yeah, but at least it's listings. So, anyways,
Absolutely.
but
Thank
I
you
mean,
so much for spending time with us this morning. I
Yeah.
mean, this was incredible.
I was telling my wife is an MCA and she's like at a different office. She's like, what are you doing this morning? I was like, something with KW in Delaware. She's like, what are you doing with Delaware? I was like, like, good. Everything I do is like the Western states. I never do anything with East Coast people, but I think it's the time difference. So I'll hang out with you guys more. I've been to Wawa. I know about Wawa, so I'll come out there just for that.
That's all you have to know.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's the one thing I knew. And there's horse racing in Delaware, in like near Dover out there. Isn't there horse racing? A big track out there.
Harrington and
Yeah.
Dover. And Dover has the speedway, and then Harrington
And
has
Wilmington.
Oh, yeah,
Wilmington
Dover.
has a huge horse track, I think.
I feel like we would always go into Pennsylvania and then drive through, but we'd go to horse races. Horse
There you
races
go.
in Wawa.
Will I see you at Mega Camp?
Yes, for sure. If you're not going, you should go.
Absolutely.
Like whoever's not going, you need to go. Especially it's so short. It's like we're now leaving Sunday night, and that's only because we're doing CEO Summit the day before. But really, you could leave Monday and fly back out Wednesday night. You only have to go 2 days. It makes it incredibly cost effective. But I'm excited for a CEO Summit because Ryan Holiday is my spirit animal. And so we saw him last year speak, and I heard the reason Gary brought him back this time was because last time Ryan talked about what he wanted to talk about, and this time Gary wants to talk about what he wants to talk about. And I love that sarcastic transparency, and I want to see where that goes. So we're doing that one, CEO Summit and Mega Camp. So we're excited about it.
Awesome. Well, I will see you there. And
Come track
have a
me down.
great day. Good luck with your listing.
Thank you. So, all right. If you want to go ahead and share my contact info, and like literally anybody, feel free to reach out to me. My schedule gets a little crazy, but I don't care. Reach out to me and let's chat. So.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure we will.
All right. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.